What was with that moment where the prince was holding the dagger from the blade and Farah was falling? I mean, that was after all the platforming that we're going to have to do in a second, but yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. Anyways, hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we're off for more Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. And in the last episode, we had a ton of technical issues, and hopefully we won't have any more of that today. Yeah, another recording day. But this is actually going a lot slower than I expected because of shenanigans. The sand is swirling around us, and can I just say, this area reminds me of running away from the pirate ships in Rayman 2. Obviously a lot more realistic in the graphic style and not being a limbless man. In fact, we need our limbs in order to do this parkour. We can't fly with our heads. Also water in case we need it. So yeah, in the last episode, we made our way out of the secret palace, as well as covering all the stuff, which led us... Sorry about that. Led us to a bunch of bridges that were basically collapsing through the mess hall, and we got separated from Farah. So now we're trying to make our way to the... Well, it's not actually specified. She says, I'll meet you at the baths, and obviously the prince has been a bit sarcastic on that. But he mentioned that he was, like, talking about, like, the other baths on the opposite side of the palace, which is where we've already been through. In fact, that's kind of where we got our current sword. Yeah, we're heading to a different section of the baths, which is the Harem Baths. It's not really specified why there's two separate baths, but yeah, that's actually where we're going to. A little bit of spoilers. Also, we'll run to the shadow on the wall, and you will grab the stalactite that's casting that shadow. We gotta go quick, because these are collapsing as we're jumping through this cave. Very nice cave, actually. Nice, different biome than what we're used to so far. Yeah, we've had quite a lot of different biomes so far already. This game's very stylized and got a lot of different environments for you to go through. It's quite nice. And obviously, even your design, getting battle-hardened and damaged, kind of adds to the contrast. Well, that's all the platforming, but we haven't found Farah yet, so it's like the Sands of Time are sometimes giving us glimpses further on. And then it does something like that, where the Sands of Time, despite not being able to, obviously being a sand vortex for visions, unless we're protected by the Sands of Time, show us without using the Sands of Time that we die. Yes, because I'm going to fall flat for... Well, you can obviously fall face first into water and not open your mouth and drink it, because that is somehow not going to keep you alive, because that's how we keep alive. We drink water, got to stay hydrated in the deserts of India and Persia. But that's just how it be. So we've got to scale down a bunch of platforms in some sort of watery area. That was the wrong direction. That was a misclick. I'll just spin. It's fine. Obviously they shake, so they will eventually fall if you want it for too long, but kick jumping off of them obviously knocks them completely loose. Before we continue though, sand cloud right there. Lovely stuff. And we've made it to the bit where it just showed us. A reservoir of water from the waterfalls. A lot of rigging going on here. There's a box there. In the GameCube version, that'll be glowing. If I ever do, for whatever reason, cover the GBA version of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, because it is a completely different game. Obviously, it can't be 3D, but it's not like a 2D interpretation of this game. It's like its own separate thing. GameCube version has 3 glowy boxes that give you bonuses, but obviously I can't show those, and if you do not have a Game Boy Advance connected via... why did I go back on myself? Via a GameCube to Game Boy Advance connector, or traded link cable, whatever you want to call it, nothing happens when you break them, so it's not like I can pause and cover that, because I've never played the GBA version of the game. This is the version I'm familiar with, and it's basically the version on all platforms other than GBA. The GBA is the outlier. I could not get off there for a second. In fact, I'm going to ignore these bats. Screw off. I'm just going to ignore you guys completely. Because if I just keep on moving, they will not get me. And I'm at full health, so I don't even need to stick around and have a drink. I'm just going to roll on out of here. And if you bats decide to follow me here, you're going to get smacked as I whack the wall. Nice. Yeah, we're doing a lot of wall smashing at the moment, which I guess is kind of cool. I want to move faster, stay on the edge here. This is a big room. And the prince hasn't actually said anything so far. No musings. I guess he was having those musings where we're going through that stupid wall balancing gate room that we had to go through, which, as I said, was one of my childhood walls of this game. A lot of them happen in this middle part of the game. Well, I say middle part, we're kind of already at like 68 or 69%. Yeah, 69, I know, winning. This room was another one of those walls for me when I was young, and I think it was because I was not very good on jumping from rope to rope, and I kept falling and dying, and it annoyed me. Speaking of which, that's what we need to do. And ironically enough, this is actually a good save point because there's a lot to do in this room as we're making our way out. Until the next save vortex, there are 4 sand clouds and a magic fountain for us to find. But 3 of those sand clouds and the magic fountain are in this room. So if we climb that final rope that leads to outside, as we just saw in those visions just now, we won't be able to fall back in. And you can kind of tell what you need to do. You need to jump on all these ropes that are holding buckets, but there's only one that will get us out of here. And I believe it's that one beyond the one in the middle here. Now, I'm not entirely too sure if you could, like, trick a couple of jumps and actually skip bits. Oh, here we go again with some bats. These ones I will need to fight, unfortunately. Because they're going to knock me around otherwise. Damn, there's 4. If we can get them to 3, they'll go away. So, hit them once more. There we are. Happy days. Put our sword away. Which we can do manually, which I don't think we can do in any other games. You can just parkour with your weapons out, for the most part. And I'm going to try not talk about the other games anymore, because I actually have a lot of... Okay, that was a bit of a weird movement, but okay. Thank you for the correction. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to jumpity. Aha! And I was not holding the action button, which is R1. There we go. So we haven't got any sand clouds yet, we're just kind of making our way around the place at the moment. But if I were to zoom out the camera, it's this bucket, I'm pretty sure. That's the one... No, it's not that one, is it? It's... I forget which one it is. Maybe I should have checked beforehand, but right now we can't climb any of these because they all have gratings above them. The one that we need doesn't. Just making sure I'm lined up. Ha! Now, there's no need to jump into the alcoves to the bottom left or bottom right of the screen. We just want to make sure we have the most momentum and a decent enough height so that we can jump at the right time to grab this bucket. Now, you can see that there is a sand cloud to the top left. We will leave that for a minute because we can't reach it for now. Instead, we want to hop over here, completely ignore the traps, and we'll run across over here because there's a sand cloud right here. So that's the first of 3 for this room. That one's quite easy to miss, to be fair, because the other one is, like, out in the open. And another one is pretty clear, but that one's kind of hidden if you don't actually go for it. So I want to wall run up here. Maybe not climb, but it's fine. I can take a little bit of chip damage, because, you know, we've got water in a massive room. That won't help, though. Unfortunately, they kind of intersected there, and it kind of screwed me over. So we need to keep dropping and climb back up to dodge these buzzsaws. A little bit sloppy. My apologies. Oh my god, more bats. And I just released more sand. The sands of time are swirling. Can you get off? I'm pressing the circle button to drop. Yeah, the last thing I want is more technical issues. I mean, ironically enough, over the 2 days that I was recording the previous episode, and, you know, editing that together and remembering I had technical issues months ago when practicing on the Steam Deck, I'm now having technical issues today in other regards, so maybe today's a jinx. Also, that bat got stuck. Speaking of technical issues. I'm going to leave you there, because you're silly. Okay, I got chopped up a bit there. It's fine. I lived, and that's all that matters. And I don't think there's actually any trophies or achievements for taking the least amount of hits, but obviously there is a trophy for rewinding less than 20 times in a playthrough. But you'd probably do that when you're speedrunning for a 2-hour finish, so that may go hand in hand, I guess, because unless you're going to use a lot of rewinds to mitigate damage. We got rid of the bats pretty quick, so that's quite nice. Got a box here, so we're going to bring this to this sand cloud, because getting up here is actually required. So, yeah, again, there's not really any way you could potentially miss this. A room filled with water, immediate heal as well. And just the fact that, obviously, you just saw there, I climbed on the box, but I couldn't climb up. We need to make sure that our feet are dry, even after we get out of the water, so that we can actually wall climb. Otherwise, we just have no grip. Because, you know, water's kind of a lubricant. Makes things slippery. Well, we're actually kind of 2/3 through this room now, I think. I'm going to jump for this. Cycle round. Go for this one. Aha! Yeah, I don't know if it was my PS2 disc, which I will get into probably next episode as to why I might have thought that was the problem back in the day when I was a child getting through this room. It may have been a bit buggy. That's the hole that we need to actually leave from, but I don't want to go in there just yet. I want to head over here first. And I want to climb on up. But I don't want to do it where that's biting, because it's actually better. Oh, no, wait, no, I was thinking of the previous room. We could have just dodged the biters and climbed up the wall, but it's a little bit further away this time, so we can't do that. There is a sand cloud right there, and by the way, this is all optional. You don't have to do this. We could have just climbed out of this watery room. But if we swing across here and ignore the sand cloud for now, because we can actually drop down, it's a safe distance as long as we roll, there's a breakable wall up here for the magic fountain. So you get a cloud and a magic fountain at the exact same time. Which doesn't happen very often. I think the last time it happened was right before we met with Farah in that courtyard near the reception hall, where we had to like hop over some spikes real quick. But the fact that we can just drop... Also, I can still hear the traps, and yet we're nowhere near them. This place is an echoey chamber. Yeah, that wall's not being very subtle, is it? There was clearly something here. But anyway, if we just get to the edge here, put our weapons away, and drop, we can just... Oh, I don't even need to roll. Nice. So I'm going to just absorb that. And that should be cloud number 32, because we just got ourselves another sand tank. Unfortunately, this does put us 2 power tanks behind. So that is... Wow, really? I was walking straight ahead and I missed that. Why are you veering off? You're supposed to auto-lock on. That's interesting. Right, let me actually do it the old-fashioned way and line up. There we go. Bloody hell. Right, do not hold action so that we come to a complete stop and then we can actually climb up. Only one more sand cloud before we reach a sand vortex. We were in a well, it seems. Would make sense for a reservoir. Sand cloud is right there in front of us. But we've got sand creatures, and ironically enough, we just got the easy hunchback, so you know what that means. Vault, smack, stab. But yeah, as I said, that does put us 2 power tanks behind of doing a new Mega Freeze. So we got to build those back up in order to re-unlock that again. Now, thankfully, even when you're absorbing, it just means you got to basically defeat 32 of these sand creatures. But unfortunately, taking out the hunchbacks brings in the cavalry. So they're now alerted of our presence again. I guess they just didn't think to check underneath the palace. But where there's water, there are baths, so we must be close. Because that was a well, and unfortunately the structure's gone. That means we're close to Farah. So hopefully she's not having a terrible time, because that could be problematic. Can I jump off the tree here? Yeah, I can. I just barely missed, though. I'll give you a combo. Never mind. Attack me. You missed, you fool. Ha-ha! Outplayed. Lovely stuff. Are we done? We got more. We have more. I'll save the sand cloud in case if things go really pear-shaped and I have to rewind like crazy, because that's basically just a full recovery, which is very nice. So, you can't really lose here, and if you do need health, just go through that doorway, and maybe even just put your weapons away and ignore the enemies. You can just do that. But I would like my Mega Freeze for later battles that we can skip. So, I will be, in fact, absorbing these guys to quickly build up my power tanks. We're more than halfway on one of them already, which is very nice. Unfortunately, these spear guys are once again giving me the work. I'm just not able to jump off that tree. I know you can. Could be a PS3 thing. Again, collision, as I mentioned, with the ropes. Yeah, childhood memories really coming back in terms of my playthroughs and how I struggled. But that will be more of a point next episode. Whee! Absorb you. Ow! Disrespectful. I'll just stab you real quick. You know what? You can have a stabby too. There we are. Cut you up. Smack you up. And done. Slice-y-dicey. Didn't need to do it on the hunchback, but it's fine. A few of them are coming in. I do like that, since we haven't fought these sand zombies in a while, that it doesn't just toss all of the hard enemies at you. It gives you a couple of hunchbacks to cushion it a little bit, but at the same time, again, if you've been grabbing every sand cloud, at this point, you would probably have, as I said, 2 power tanks behind of sand tanks. Maybe 1 if you haven't been grabbing it. You know what, I'm just going to get around you and absorb you, buddy. And that did not work for the best, but I'm going to get right in there. The best thing about the cutlass wielding dudes, even though they look more burly than the blue lancers, or the blue spears, shall I say, is that they take a good long while to wind up their attacks, so you can easily get under their defenses and just combo them if you really need to. But like the blue spears, you can't vault over them. Unless you maybe do it from a wall at a decent distance. But I just go for the lunge. It's pretty much guaranteed. We're already building our last, or second, shall I say, power tank already. Before I save, though, I will go have a few bits of sippies. Well, I say save. It does still act as a checkpoint, but I'd rather touch it when I have full health, because, I mean, let's face it, the prince is going to have a headache after this. If he hasn't had one already. But hey, he's drinking a lot of water, so hopefully that cushions the impact of his migraines. Most of those corridors were empty, but then our vision caught up to Farah making her way through the area. Interesting. We must be close if that's the case, because if our visions are showing empty corridors, well, there probably would be traps when we get there. They might be lying to our skin. It could be showing her perspective. Very easy puzzle here. We're swinging. That's cool, but where's the way out? Jump for the white switch, wall jump. Cycle over to the yellow switch as the drawbridge drops. Jump and wall jump off the yellow switch, and then jump off the rope again to get through the door. Easy. Could do it in nice one motion. And there's a sand cloud there. Let's take that. I believe that is sand cloud 34. What does that do? Make platforms come out. We'll need that, but first we need to open the door, and it's a race once again. We've got another one of these obstacle courses. That looks like the stairway that Farah went up, but she didn't have to access the traps, or trigger them, annoyingly enough. But we do know that she is very good at jumping. Oh. Okay, what happened there was that the pressure plate doesn't reset when you keep stepping on it, so I'm going to wait for it to reset. I said I'm going to wait for it to reset. Seriously? You doing this to me? You're making me wait? Wow. There we go. Okay, cool. Right, this one. Activate it now. Roll underneath and then jump it. This time we got a wall run. Just barely made it. Jump over those spikes like the cheeky chappy that we are.
Farah? Are you there? Here I am. Farah!
Alright, we have enemies.
I'm here. Where are you?
Stay there. I'll come to you.
Remember, with the chain slave drivers, you need to basically treat them like the hunchbacks. Vault, attack, and stab in order to take care of them. Blue spears use the walls to vault, or to lunge into them. But we have a lot, and I do mean a lot of harem ladies, so you can get Beybladed pretty easily, because they like to do that a lot, and you could get sliced and diced, and your health, even though they do little damage, that will mount up very quickly. So I'm just trying to stay on top of things here. Best thing to do is obviously go for a Mega Freeze when you're able to. You do have water because these are the baths, but thankfully they haven't put any fragrant oils in them. So that's all been washed away. So we are able to use it as drinking water. We're kind of stuck in this little area for now, but I believe we have about 3 or 4 waves of sand zombies coming in here. You're going to get a soldier and a bunch of blue spears as well as a couple of chained slave drivers. So, pretty clear that we are in the correct area of the Harem Baths. Absorb you real quick because you can kind of just knock me into him. Unfortunately, the different level of terrain is kind of messing up with my vaults here. And getting pushed as well, getting body blocked, rude. I've taken out the lady and stabbed her up the butt. Not what I was going for, but I'll do it to you. I'll stab you in the dick, good sir. You're not allowed to use that here. You're the entourage's guard. Slave drivers to make sure they stay here, and obviously the guards to make sure everything is secure. Speaking of which, I'm dancing with this dude on a daily basis. And you know what? I'll take it. Ha-ha! I'm not doing the double tap attack to go for the slam. I haven't been doing that recently, but that's because I'm kind of doing crowd control. We're putting another sand vortex here. We're not yet able to do another Mega Freeze. Might be worth next battle at this point, because we're almost done here. Can I absorb this lady? Yep, right up the buttocks. Lovely stuff. I can't vault into you. I keep forgetting that. It's a bad habit of mine, but there we are. Comboed, down you go. The swords that you get in this game do allow you to basically do more damage, as in, like, it takes less combos to get the guaranteed slump so that you will do the slam. But, again, you can kind of force the slam if you just double tap forward to an enemy and attack like that. So, it's up to you if you want to do that, or you can just do some vaulting. That was very cheeky. Literally absorbed someone, and that's when you go for that. You know what, come over here, good sir. There was a sand cloud over there, behind that gate. That'd be nice to get. And there we are. Time to find Farah, but first, sand vortex. And sippies, of course. Dust ourselves off from that battle when spelunking through a cave.
Are you there?
How do we get out of here? Maybe we're gonna smash some walls. We are close, and it actually showed us that there is a passage behind curtains. Very useful. So let's go searching. I mean, I guess you could have just felt around and find yourself as well.
Farah?
That was loud.
Farah?
I'm here. Where are you?
Stay there. I'll come to you. Are you there?
I'm in here.
Where? Those warps were loud, and yet those sand creatures don't seem to notice us. I mean, I guess you could have just felt your way around the place and make your way through, but... yeah, the prince is going to continuously call for Farah at this point, because he's getting worried. Bless him. Alright, we gotta go. Hopefully that's not spring-loaded. I think we have one more sand... oh, wait, was that the sand... your spear's clipping through the wall.
Farah!
She is in the room with them. We've got to hurry. She will start taking damage. It will be pretty foolish to save right now. So we'll run over here real quick. Jump so we don't fall. There's another sand cloud. We'll take that route. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to do some pro plays.
Help me.
And she is taking damage. But we'll come back for that in a second. For now, though, I'm going to smash my way through.
I'm coming!
Bam! We are here!
What took you so long?
Frolicking about the palace?
Well, now that we are here with Farah, she can once again help us out with combat, or I could just do this because I've built it up, and that is why I decided to skip that sand cloud for now, so that after I've done this, I can refuel immediately. Come on, I want some more, I want some more, there we go. I cannot see what I'm doing, but I will take it. Alright, now that is sorted, I'm going to be cheeky and now backtrack a little bit. In fact, let me put my sword on.
Why did you put your sword away?
I'll be back in a minute. I'm being cheeky. There it is. Take that real quick. Her health is not on screen, so we should be fine. She must be keeping them at bay. She also kind of hides around the corner where we basically enter from. So that kind of bottlenecks them a bit, so she can keep them at bay that way. There we are. We've caught up with them. And she's already knocked a couple of them down, which is very nice. So we'll just capitalise on that. A very unorthodox move that I basically pulled, but hey, it worked. I got a Mega Freeze off, and I've got all my power tanks back. So if things get hairy, I can just do it again. And Farah is on the ball on sniping these guys. I don't know how I stabbed that guy. I was actually going for the one on the floor, tilting upwards, and yet he went completely downwards off screen. Yeah, not too sure how that happened, and the slowdown wore off on him, so fair enough. No worries. We'll just get them back. Lovely. And we're at full health as well. And Farah is repairing her bow in the downtime. This couldn't go better. And I was being cheeky about it. Right, absorb you. The chain dude is slumped. So then I can just slap this guy. Bap! Get him as well. Tons of harem ladies. Hopefully Farah doesn't feel too bad about these ladies. Then again, they're already kind of gone. I did not mean to stab you. I was trying to stab this one on the floor. It's not a problem. Cut him up. Knock you down. Absorb you. Back at max again already. We're staying on top of things and using pretty much every ability other than general slowdown. Because when we stab and slow a particular enemy down, that's actually a normal freeze. If you recall. This warping around is the Mega Freeze. Hey, I forgot I can't do that. For some reason, I did the attack, stab, and not the double attack. That was my bad. It's so satisfying to just vault, knock someone down, and do it again, and chain it all together like this. Love the combat in this game. But with that, I'll see you guys next time, for after this vision, we have a cutscene starting us off.